Welcome to Destination Joy, Flourishing After Cancer. I'm Dr. Vivian Hollins Clark, a cancer survivor, a therapist, and your host. But you can just call me Doc V. So, this is a podcast for cancer survivors, caregivers, and anyone impacted by cancer to gain some inspiration, some hope, encouragement as they go along this journey. Um, I launched this podcast in April and I had about 4 episodes and had to take a little break. And so tonight I wanted to come on and kind of explain where I've been and what I've learned during this pause. So I hope you'll join me for the rest of my story. I'll be right back after this intro. So grab your drink, tell your friends, Destination Joy is back. Destination Joy, where faith, healing, and meet and welcome to the show. Okay, so I thought we were back. I don't know. I guess the internet is kind of acting up tonight, but we're here, and so we're going to go with it. So, when I launched Destination Joy, I wanted to create a space where cancer survivors, their caregivers, where we could come and share our stories, learn from each other, maybe gain some inspiration and hope. And so for the past few months, I've been talking to cancer survivors, caregivers, hearing their stories, and it brought up a lot of feelings for me. It took me back to, that day in the hospital when I heard those words, "You have cancer." It totally changed my life. It took me back to, my surgeries, the the treatment, the chemo. I was talking to a future guest about her journey, and she shared that the chemo almost killed her. And I remember I had colon cancer. So there's this drug, oxaliplatin, that's part of your chemo. And it causes this sensation, this feeling where you can't drink or touch anything cold. I don't really know how to describe it, but I've talked to some other colon cancer survivors who had the oxaliplatin and totally understand what they're talking about. Um, so, it brought back those memories for me. And as much as I wanted to put this cancer behind me, what I realized is that there's still parts of it in me. I thought as a therapist, well, I know as a therapist, oh, I'm back. I know as a therapist that healing is not something that, you know, that you that happens and you check it off your list and you move on with your life. It's usually an ongoing process, whether you're dealing with grief or anxiety, depression, whatever it is. It's always a winding road, back and forth, up and down. You have your good days and your bad days. So I knew this. So I guess I didn't apply that to my cancer journey, though. I mean, it's been 20 years. So I thought, yeah, I've moved on. It's not something that I have to keep dealing with. Um, but turns out, even though I wanted to move on, there's still parts of it that I'm dealing with. And so, but I also learned that it's kind of important to share that so that you all who may be going through treatment now um, have a better idea of, you know, society tells you that, you go through treatment, you survive, get over it, move on. But y'all know, I know that that's not how it works. That life that you had before diagnosis is gone. And not in the, for someone, part for me, I'm really glad because the life I had before diagnosis was very stressful, overwhelming. And so it caused me to stop and reevaluate my life and figure out where I wanted to go. Now, I say that so easily, but it was 18 months of treatment and then um, trying to rebuild a life. So it was a few years before I got to where I could see the benefit, the growth, the positive side of the cancer diagnosis. But I think it's important for those of you who are going through treatment now to be aware so it doesn't catch you off guard like this experience caught me. I thought after 20 years that I was healed, that um, I survived and moved on. But what I've learned is that survival is a medical outcome and healing is an emotional journey. And that emotional journey is something that takes time, takes years, takes a lifetime. I may never be completely over it, but I've learned so many lessons along the way that I want to share with others. So that's was my why for creating this podcast, and that's my why for not quitting when I wanted to. And if I didn't come back on tonight, I have to tell you, it was a strong possibility it wasn't going to happen because the farther you get away from something, the easier it is to not start back, and you all going through the cancer journey, you know that. When you get diagnosed, it's like what I envision is like the yellow brick road. Dorothy on the yellow brick road, and she's headed to Oz. And so you're just focused on survival. That's all you can think about. And then you get to the Emerald City, and what happened? She found out that it wasn't all that she thought it was going to be, but it wasn't the end of her story. You know, Glinda the Good Witch, she, told her that you've had everything you needed inside of you. And she helped her to get back to her life. And she learned from that experience. And I think the cancer journey is very similar to that. So that's all that I wanted to share tonight. That I had to take a little pause. I wanted to quit, but I didn't because I can't. Um, I'm God put me here on this purpose, on this world for a purpose, and I'm believing that I'm called to help you all to share my story, my strength and hope to help others. And so I'm gonna continue to do that. So I just want to let you know that we're back, and I have guests lined up for the future. In fact, next week we will have a wife's perspective The title is When Your Spouse Has Cancer, A Wife's Perspective. And I don't remember if you remember my guest, Bernie, from episode 4, who is currently in treatment for colon cancer. And this is his wife, Allison. So she'll be sharing her story next week. And I'm not going to say that we're going to come every week. I'm going to stop stressing myself out, trying to. This could be a full-time job, and I'm still working. I still have a family. So, but I don't want to give it up. I think it's important. And so I'm going to, continue to seek guests who are willing to share their story. I have a few lined up, and I'm continuing to reach out to others. But if you're out there, I want to hear your story. You can help somebody. So feel free to contact me. We can talk about it. Like I told you all before, doing a podcast was not my dream. This is just something that I feel like God put into my life, and I'm being obedient to the call, as Oprah says. So maybe if you're hearing me now, if you know someone who's dealing with cancer now, or has completed treatment and trying to rebuild their life, and you think their story might be helpful to others, then reach out to me. I really want this to be a place where people can come and get information and learn from others. So it doesn't matter if you have breast cancer, colon cancer, pancreatic cancer, any of them. I think the fear that we go through when you hear those words that you have cancer is the same for everybody. And the treatment may be different. And so the tips that you learn may be different, but we can learn from each other. So I hope that you will join me, tell others, subscribe to the show, let them know we're back. And, I hope you'll continue to watch. All right. Thank you. Been part of your story, but it doesn't get to define your future. Your journey didn't end with survival. It's leading you somewhere greater, to joy. See you next episode. As y'all see, I haven't been on here for a minute, so I have to relearn how to work this, StreamYard. But I'm gonna get there because I want to be the best that I can be. All right, I'll see y'all next episode. Bye.